and I think they're offered a way out of that life to be, the sugar daddy, sugar son. I don't know. I don't know what the opposite of a sugar daddy is. Is it the sugar
boy?
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by the voice of Cinemasins, Jeremy Scott.
Hello.
And from Music Video Sins, Barrett Share.
Yay!
Yay to Barrett.
Hey, I'm here.
That's right. So with Bill and Ted Face the Music, which will be out by the time this podcast comes out, we decided to look at Keanu Reeves' career.
I am an FBI agent.
I don't care about your crime.
I know Kung Fu.
I don't lose. I win. That's my job. That's what I do.
It's one of those very interesting careers.
Mm-hmm.
He is seen at all different kinds of sides. Like I don't think anybody's ever going to say he's a great actor, but he is beloved.
Yeah.
And he is, and when you put him in the right movie, he is fantastic in those right movies. He can't do everything, but he can do a lot of things. And he's extremely likable, but he also has his moments where you're like, whoa, not the type of movie that he needs to be.
Whoa.
So we decided to look at his career because it's interesting and varied for sure. And we're just going to go through the IMDb credits. And I was thinking, what is the first movie when you look at the IMDb credits? What is the earliest movie on this list that you've seen Keanu Reeves in?
Mine is River's Edge.
That is mine as well.
That was 1986. Now,
1986, and he had done a few things before this. Had several TV movies, had several features, a couple of TV series appearances. He was I need to see this Coca-Cola ad that he was in 1984. But River's Edge is the first one that I've seen on this. River's Edge is a weird movie, man.
it is.
It's not weird in that weird things happen. It's that it revolves around a murder, and basically, and the movie, to its credit, it addresses this. It's about a murder that nobody gives a shit about.
Nope. Either I think if memory serves, the only person that kind of gives a shit is Keanu, right?
Yes, and sort of Eon Sky does too. But nobody here's what I mean. There could be some shock involved too. I understand that, but so the murderer, right off the bat, is Daniel Roebuck, who Daniel Roebuck was in The Fugitive. He was one of Tommy Lee Jones's men in that movie. He's like, how about bullshit, Sam? How about bullshit? He's that guy.
Is he? He's the Dye the River Blue, the other 364 days, right?
Yeah, and he was Jay Leno in that Jay Leno David Letterman thing. Yeah. He was in Lost. He's in a million different things. He's the killer, and right off the bat, we see him with this naked dead body, and he's just kind of looking over it in kind of a shocked way, I guess. But then he goes and tells his friends about it, and his friends, led by Crispin Glover, man, this guy.
There's a lot of weirdos in this movie.
What is his deal, man?
There's a lot of weirdos.
Crispin Glover's deal? We're going to be talking about Keanu Reeves, but I want to know what Crispin Glover's deal is. He's like, Matt. He just keeps on having these weird line readings and everything. But yeah, you have Crispin Glover, you have Keanu Reeves. Eon Sky, they all get taken to the place where the body is. Kind of it's almost Stand By Me-ish in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And they all look at the body and they're all like, dead body. We knew that person. Weird.
Yeah.
That's very, I mean, I'm not even joking. Not even joking. That's how their reaction is to this. And Crispin Glover wants to help his friend, but there's this discussion as to whether he and Daniel Roebuck are really friends at all in this. They don't really know each other that well, I guess, but he wants to help him out. He doesn't want this body to be discovered and him go to jail, and he hides him in Dennis Hopper's house. Of course, Dennis Hopper's in this movie. 1986, Dennis Hopper.
A lot of weirdos.
He's coming straight off of Blue Velvet, man, because he's got a blow up doll buddy, basically.
He's a drug dealer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a drug dealer, and he's hiding out because he thinks that there are people out there that want to kill him, and he's been like enclosed in this house for 5 years, but they hide him out. But there are some people of conscience. Eon Sky is like, why are we doing what Crispin Glover wants to do? Why like this girl was our friend too. Listen, they almost call the cops and then don't, and then Keanu Reeves ends up doing it. And really the whole movie seems to be about how they deal with death, and maybe at that kind of an age where they don't know how to deal with it, because their loyalties are divided. The friend that has died and the friend who's committed the murder. But it's so bizarre all the way through. You're like, what do you feel about this shit? And they address it. They do. They address it. They say, I don't know. I didn't like. Keanu Reeves is asked he's asked by the detective, who you guys will know as the Die Hard 2 janitor. He's like, did you feel anything at all? He's like, I don't know if I feel anything or not. And and it's true. I believe him. I don't think he does. It's such a fucking weird movie, man.
It really is. I don't even know if it's good. Don't they end up like kicking the body down the river or something like that?
Crispin Glover rolls the body into the river.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
roll it in the river.
But
it doesn't work, right?
I mean, you can't. Yeah, I mean, water tends to bring the body back. But yeah, there's this whole thing, and there's like there's subplots in there where people are trying to get back at other people, and Keanu Reeves is trying to get with Eon Sky, and who could blame him? But Keanu Reeves is pretty good in this. I would say
he's fine. He plays like a perfect encapsulation of that character, and this will be a trend. If you put Keanu in the right role,
yes,
spectacular.
Yeah,
put a round peg in a square hole, then it's not good.
Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, I mean, it's a weird movie. I think it's pretty good. I mean, just in general, like it's a different way to look at this kind of a movie. Like, what if somebody got murdered and nobody gave a shit? Basically, it's like ballsy to make a movie like that. Because there's not anybody like crying over this body or anything. And nobody that we know really who could say, I'm really affected by this loss or anything. Nobody's in the movie that can attest to that. We don't know the parents and I'm guessing that the parents aren't really there because this is basically a white trash movie where they're like all the people's parents are fucked up and are absentee and everything like that. So, probably didn't have parents that cared about her at all.
It's like a Charlie Brown special.
It's just like a Charlie Brown special.
I'm just saying, in that Halloween, the Great Pumpkin, Linus goes to sleep in a goddamn pumpkin patch. And Lucy has to get up at 4:00 in the fucking morning.
That's true.
To bring him in and put the blanket on him. Ain't no fucking parents up in that bitch.
Well, look, every time that their parents try to tell them not to do something, all they hear is wah, 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 wah.
Right, exactly. So it's exactly the same as River's Edge.
It's exactly like River's Edge. I think we've conclusively proven that this movie is just like the Peanuts. What is the next thing that you guys have seen on this list? Have you seen Babes in Toyland?
No.
I know that's a pretty famous TV movie, but I've never seen it.
That's got the Barrymore, Drew Barrymore, right?
It's got Drew Barrymore in it.
I've never seen it. She doesn't like toys, and so she gets transported to Toyland, and Keanu is there as like the Prince of Toyland or something like that. Yeah. Okay. And that's all I remember. It's adorable. This is Drew Barrymore. Let's see, 1986. So she was like,
she would have been 11.
11. Yeah. So she's still in her girly phase, and Keanu, gosh, he's a teenager, right? Or maybe in his early 20s. When do you think Keanu was born?
Oh, he was born in 64, so he'd be 20, 22, 23, somewhere.
Okay, yeah.
But let's see. And then the next one on the list that I have seen is Dangerous Liaisons. Have you seen anything before that?
There's The Night Before. I haven't seen. Permanent Record. I haven't seen. Prince of Pennsylvania. I have not seen. Dangerous Liaisons. So, yeah, to preface this, like the first movie that I saw with Keanu Reeves was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. But then going back, his first movie was River's Edge, and then Dangerous Liaisons, which rules. The movie rules. Now,
yeah, this is one of those. This is one of those Keanu doesn't fit kind of movies. He's playing someone who is courting who is he courting in this?
He's
Uma.
Courting. First of all,
is it Uma?
Michelle Pfeiffer, right? No. It's the girl.
Yeah, he's courting Uma.
Yeah.
And of course he finds out about Malkovich. Malkovich and her having sex. So like he wants to sort of defend his honor and defend her honor and everything. And there's a sword fight towards the end and everything. But and when you put Keanu in one of these period pieces, man, it like almost always ends up being like, oh my God, this is excruciating.
Remind me who's all in this. Michelle Pfeiffer. Is it Annette Bening in this one?
No, that's Valmont.
Who was the
Glenn Close was
Glenn Close, and
Glenn Close was the Sarah Michelle Gellar.
You didn't laugh this much the last time we did this.
It's the only time Glenn Close will be compared to the superior Sarah Michelle Gellar.
That's right. That's correct.
Oh my God.
But
okay, so it's her and Malkovich, and then Michelle Pfeiffer is the Reese
Witherspoon. You did not laugh this much when we did this before.
No, I forgot that did we compare them to Cruel Intentions last time?
Yeah, I did. I had watched this in Valmont like the same day and was like warning Valmont and recommending this, and I kept saying this person, Annette Bening plays the Sarah Michelle Gellar character.
Okay, but that's
this guy's the Ryan Phillippe. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I did it with Dangerous Liaisons too. I talked about both those movies in the same segment. Anyway, it's hilarious. You laugh all you want.
And then Keanu is the and then I got you now.
Is the cellist.
Yeah,
but it's funny because Valmont,
Sean Patrick Thomas.
Yeah, yes. Valmont came out. You already ran out this recently, but like a year around.
Yeah, they were within like a year and a half of each other. Yeah. Okay. And in fact, the story is Annette Bening wanted the role in Dangerous Liaisons, but it went to Glenn Close, and so she got the role in Belmont after that.
So it's like a Volcano Dante's Peak type of relationship.
Yes. Deep Impact Armageddon. Bugs Ants Life. We can go on like this forever.
It's I didn't realize for the longest time that there was a second one of these movies, because I remember Dangerous Liaisons even when I was like 11 years old when that movie came out, because I used to see ads for it. I never saw anything for Valmont anywhere.
Yeah, I think it was probably a smaller deal.
It probably was. But yeah, in this movie, you know, especially when he's challenging Malkovich towards the end, it's just like, yeah,
Valmont.
Yeah,
I want your head.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's got now. See, this starts the run of let's not try an accent because I believe he tries. Jeremy, do you remember if he tries a British accent here?
I don't remember. I'm sure he's trying whatever ended up coming out.
He's trying.
It ends up being very. I mean, it's Keanu by the time it's. I mean, it doesn't really. I don't think he may be putting on an accent, but it's just Keanu putting on an accent is what it sounds.
It's and we'll talk about these, but Much Ado About Nothing and then Dracula are the times where he tries an accent. I don't think. Oh no, he tries one more accent later on.
Yeah,
it's not British. It's not really anything, but yeah, it's just not a good look.
Yeah, the movie itself is fantastic. You should watch it. Keanu is not at his best here, but then his ultimate role here, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. If you know, this is, I mean, I'm not saying that he should always be this kind of like a dim bulb type of character or anything, but this is so perfect for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the guy who doesn't he has that voice already, right? You know, where it sounds like he just doesn't get most things. He's kind of dumb, you know, whatever. And I people have asked him that in interviews, which I think is really fucking rude.
Yeah, no kidding.
You dumb? I think people were implying that why do you play dumb characters, or is it because, you know, of your voice or whatever like that? And it's, you know, it's like, it's obvious he's a pretty intelligent dude, and he's you know, I don't know. I mean, to play this is perfect for Keanu though. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. What do we think about this movie today?
Ooh boy. I don't really think it holds up very well.
No,
I
not really.
Loved it when I was a teenager. Loved it. Today's teenagers might love it if they saw it, but adult me does not enjoy this movie. I watched it about a month ago for a project I was working on, and it really doesn't hold up almost in any way whatsoever.
What doesn't hold up? Obviously, there's the one moment of the homophobic slur and all that, but what is it? The datedness of the movie? Is it the effects? Is it the
Yes.
historical inaccuracies? Is it all of the above?
It's it feels like a one joke movie to me, and the joke is always they're dumb.
Yeah,
and it just didn't make me laugh very much. And yeah, the homophobic stuff stands out, but it was the 80s, and people were still doing that pretty regularly in movies. I'm not going to judge the movie for that, but it's everything about the premise of their freaking project to save their entire grade, or they go to military school. The whole thing is just written by teenagers, and I think it was.
Well, yeah, I think so. That is hilarious. And the history teacher, literally waits until the day before the report to tell them that they failed everything. Yeah. And they're genuinely surprised. I don't think that they're like too dumb to know. I think this is the first they're aware of this.
Yeah.
He says, not only do you have to pass your report, you have to get an A+ on your report.
It has to be before. It has to be super special. And like, yeah, and this report is so fucking like such insane parameters. Like, pick somebody from a historical era and tell us what they would think of San Dimas today. And you know, you get all these people who come up and they're all like, yeah, I think they'd love San Dimas. Like, almost everybody is saying that shit in their reports. I'm like Jeremy. I think this is great when you're 12 years old or whatever, and you watch it because it's, you know, it's stupid fun. You know, it's time travel. You don't think about whether a lot of this stuff makes sense or anything, but you know, I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's a fun movie.
You know what? There's something to be said about that. And this is a bit of a derailment. It won't take long. I watched, for family movie night the other night, my 12-year-old, suggested Ready Player One. Now, I don't like Ready Player One. I've seen it twice. Didn't like it either time. Liked the book quite a bit. But I was like, you know what? That's a good family movie. Not a whole lot of, tits and guns and blood and dicks and stuff like that. Really none to speak of. And so we watched it. And for a 12-year-old, especially a 12-year-old that's into gaming, he had a fucking blast, as did my wife. And I kind of enjoyed it just by proxy of them enjoying it. And so, like, I think the context will inform that. Like, I bet my parents or whoever took me to see Bill and Ted's back in the day probably enjoyed it because I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah. I don't like Ready Player One, the movie, and I've said that I like the book, although I've had to reassess the book over the last few years too, because I've heard interpretations of that. There was a guy I saw, someone gave me a video of a guy deconstructing movie and the book, and he's like, when somebody gave me this book a few years ago, and I got about halfway through it, and I called my friend and I was like, when does the twist come in? And he goes, what do you mean the twist? And he's like, well, this guy's an asshole. The main guy is an asshole. He's like this guy who thinks he knows everything about pop culture, and he's in love with this woman who's got the one flaw on her face or whatever, and all this. I was like, when is this going to turn around on him? And it turns out that he's the dickhead that everybody needs to stop or whatever. And he goes, oh, there's no twist. There's no twist at all.
He remains a dickhead until the very end.
That's very true. The next movie I see on this list that I've seen is Parenthood.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Ron Howard did this one. I remember this one being a fun movie. Steve Martin is great in it. Diane Wiest. Keanu Reeves is dating, what is her name?
Martha Plimpton?
Martha Plimpton in this. And the only thing I remember about him is that it's like towards the beginning, and I've said this before on the SinCast, mentioned this scene before, but he's like setting up a camera on a tripod, and he's like, I'm setting up this camera so that we can record our love. And and I just remember him being considered like one of those, like the dude in The Descendants that George Clooney hates. Yeah. He's kind of like that guy a little bit.
I've always got weed.
It's a great cast, man.
Yeah, it really is. A ton of people in this.
Tom Hulse is in that. Joaquin Phoenix, when he was Leaf Phoenix. You remember that? He used to be called Leaf.
Oh, I don't remember that, actually.
It's like Sauron started off as a leaf.
That's right.
Let's not get back into Sauron, please.
But I mean, he's got a small role in this movie, and it's I remember it being pretty good. They've made I think they've made like 14 different TV series out of Parenthood since this movie came out,
and everybody is dying of cancer in those movies.
Yes, that's correct. What is the next one that you see on this list that you've seen?
I saw I Love You to Death, but it was a long ass time ago.
Do you not remember it?
I've never seen this.
I remember basically the gist. It says she kills her husband.
No, she tries to. This movie's hilarious. This movie's hilarious.
It's Lawrence Kasdan, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's Kevin Kline in his prime, too.
Yeah.
And Tracy Ullman really in her prime.
All you have to do is see the video cover and know it's Lawrence Kasdan, because there's, he always puts the huge cast on the front of the thing, because he does that with The Big Chill, I think, and he does it with Grand Canyon.
This is so this is the trailer that has the voiceover that calls him Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
This is interesting because, so Tracy Ullman is married to Kevin Kline, and he's a good dude. He's like a pizza man. He's got like a Italian accent and everything. He's a pizza man, but he likes to stick his wee in the hoo-has.
His pepperoni.
Yes. And he's a serial philanderer. She's like, somebody asked him, like, how many affairs have you had? And he's like, in the last 2 weeks, 12. So he's fucking around on Tracy Ullman. So Tracy Ullman concocts this idea that she's going to kill him and get like insurance money or something like that. And she really doesn't know how to do it. But she recruits River Phoenix, and he recruits a couple of boneheads, one of whom is Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
And one of whom is it William Hurt is the other one? Yes, William Hurt is the other one. And they keep trying to, it's like Danny McBride in Pineapple Express. They keep killing him. They keep like shooting him, stabbing him, like doing all this stuff, but he keeps living. And they're like, God damn it, how do we do it? It's funny.
The next one on the list that I have seen is Point Break.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, you have.
Perfect Keanu Reeves casting, right?
We're in the 90s, right?
Yeah, we're in 1991 now. He's playing an FBI agent, but he's also playing a surfer dude in this. He's got to go undercover as a surfer dude, infiltrating Patrick Swayze's, gang of surfers who do presidential robberies as presidents.
It's like 21 Jump Street for extreme sports.
It is.
Can you take me through this? It's been forever since I've seen Point Break.
Yeah.
Keanu was a star college football player, right?
Johnny Utah.
Yep.
Then he became an FBI agent, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then he became an undercover FBI agent / surfer that's trying to rob people.
These robberies by the U.S. presidents or whatever, wearing the Nixon and Reagan masks and all that, are unsolved. And of course, I believe it's John C. McGinley, because it's always John C. McGinley.
Yes, it usually is.
Who's like, we gotta get this, fucking solved, So,
he's the guy that has the line, "You're young, dumb, and full of cum."
Yeah. It's either him or Gary Busey that says that. I don't remember, but yeah, I can't remember exactly why. Like why he knows he needs to be an undercover surfer. I guess he hears something. He's got a beach witness guy, I think, that knows that Patrick Swayze and his buddies might be behind it. I think that's maybe possibly what it was. I can't remember.
What does the football thing have to do with it, though?
I don't know.
They recognize him. That's how he gets in with the gang, is because he was like minorly famous, and I think even Patrick Swayze recognizes him, but somebody does, right?
Oh, that's how he gets in.
Right. He uses his fame to get in with I think that's even an accident. I think they like meet him and have a conversation, and then the cops are like, "You should keep going undercover," and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
but honestly,
that's about right.
I saw this movie last when we synced it, and it didn't fare well.
Yeah,
I've not gone back.
Same here. It's been forever since I've seen it. But yeah. Bottom line is he goes undercover with these surfers, and Patrick Swayze's the leader of it,
and Lori Petty is his little surfer girl.
That's right.
And he
Tank
sings
Girl
the Beach Boys to her.
Mm-hmm.
And Busey is the captain, right?
No, Busey's his partner.
Oh, okay. But Johnny C is in there somewhere too. That's a good cast.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Catherine Bigelow made this movie.
She did.
Oh, that's
right.
And
it. I mean, yeah. It's especially for its time. It's pretty good. It's not. It's it's not great by any means, but perfect Keanu movie.
And he does fire his gun up in the air whilst yelling, "Ah!"
Yes.
Yeah. It's Fast and Furious, 20 years ahead of its time.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves plays the Paul Walker.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Then the next one, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which I have not seen since it came out.
I haven't either. I remember thinking it wasn't as good as the other one.
Yeah. I was that snob at 14. But like, all I remember about this is playing chess with death, who William Sadler is playing in this. And that's all I remember.
I'll tell you what this movie has is a bitchin' soundtrack.
Yeah.
I'll believe that.
Not only
Any poison on there?
There's no poison, I don't think. Let me pull it up. But there is Steve Vai did the Reaper during the guitar solo thing. Faith No More is on this.
Yes.
The Perfect Crime. Shouted Out by Slaughter was on this. Oh, Go to Hell. Oh, this is funny. So Megadeth had a song on this soundtrack called Go to Hell, and Dave Mustaine claimed that James Hetfield stole it for the Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep Enter Sandman interstitial thing, even though because they came out around the same time as the Black Album. But obviously Now I Laid Me Down to Sleep is an old prayer and all that stuff. But it was good. By the way, there's a Winger song on here. That doesn't count. But there's a King's X song on there that's fantastic. But my favorite part, so there's two favorite parts. I love talking about this soundtrack. So first of all, in the Battle of the Bands at the end, you know who precedes them before they go on and sing God Gave Rock and Roll to You?
Is it Chili Peppers?
It's Primus.
Primus
comes out there and does Tommy the Cat, which is a fucking awesome song. It's like one of their best songs ever. And he's like, say, baby, do you want to lay down with me? Say, baby. Okay. But then they come out and they have this big thing. And it's the God Gave Rock and Roll to You, which was a Christian rock song. Argent did it. Then Petra did it. And then Kiss performed it for this under the guise of Bill and Ted. Meanwhile, while they're playing this, before they play this, they have to defeat the evil robot versions of themselves.
That's right.
No. I'm sorry. The good robots that Station built, the Martian, the alien, he built the good robots that had to beat the evil Bill and Ted's, and they kill him, and then they do the God Gave Rock and Roll, and it's fun. It's a fun movie because of the music. It's
now I want to see it again and look at it through Barrett's eyes.
I feel like give me the cash.
Give me the cash.
Fifth Element.
Give me the cash. It's funny because it shows every role that any actor's done. He was in the Rush video for Paula Abdul.
That's a good video.
Yeah.
Do you know what the best Petra song ever is?
What is?
Hold on. Is it like a famous one?
Probably. It's Judas Kiss.
Oh,
I don't know if you've ever heard that. The guitar lick is just like Judas kissed. Man, that song fucking ruled. They got so watered down as they went on. Their early albums were actually rock. And by the time I was going to see them in concert in like the late 80s, they were already like the Rolling Stones, man. They were just like watering it down for the olds.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they were banging hotties in the back.
But this is also, I mean, Greg X Volt had left the band, and we had John Schlitt singing by then, and it just wasn't the same. I never got to see them in concert when they were actual like hard rock.
Anyway. They were banging chicks back there, right?
It gotta been, man. I mean, how could it be any different than today?
You would think that almost everything that any other rock band does, they did. Only they went to church.
Yeah.
And ask forgiveness.
Yeah. How can you possibly be a rock band that has women just constantly probably like throwing themselves at you? And
they're
just
playing
like,
arenas,
nah.
right?
You're telling me Bill Gaither never took a BJ in the green room?
Right.
Come on. I shouldn't have used
Because where I'm going, I'll take a shot in the mouth.
I shouldn't have used Bill Gaither.
The Rush song, by the way, is off of Paula Abdul's second album, After Forever You Girl. It was Spellbound. And Spellbound, I think, has been unfairly derided.
Oh, yeah?
Relative to Forever Your Girl. Forever Your Girl is fantastic, but Spellbound was very, very good, too.
I'm just over here singing Paula Abdul's Rush.
I like me some Paula Abdul.
Depends on the song.
I did back in the day. I mean, when I was younger, I used to listen to all that stuff back then. The next movie I see on the list that I have watched is Bram Stoker's Dracula. I recently popped this in as a background movie. This is not a background movie. Rarely do I say this about almost anything. This is not a background movie because this movie is fucking weird, man.
It is.
I mean, it's all over the place, fucking weird, all over. Like I had it on the background, and every time I looked up, there was something new, insane going on the screen. Like wow, how crazy is this movie? And Francis Ford Coppola did this movie.
I'm glad he did. I think his eye was still attuned. Man, this movie's beautiful. It's colorful.
Oh yeah.
Costumes are amazing. The worst part about this movie is the acting, except for Gary Oldman.
Yeah,
this is one of many collaborations between Keanu and Winona Ryder. It just ain't for them, man. This just ain't for them.
Yeah, Gary Oldman is good, but in the way that he is keeping up with the insanity of the movie, good. Yes. I can't even I can't imagine if this is a good performance in another Dracula movie. Like, put him in any other kind of Dracula movie, would this performance be good? He's just as over the top as anybody else. That's true. Hey, Gary Oldman is like that. He's capable of getting unhinged, and I'm just gonna do whatever, and he does.
Can carry off the accent though. It's funny when he first introduces himself. I believe he goes like, it's when he's in his old man with the poofy hair, and he's like, "I am Dracula."
Yes,
and I'm like, "What the fuck, dude?" Man, and the way that he takes a drop of blood off of Keanu's hand or something like that, and he's like,
yeah.
Yes, I agree with you that it probably wouldn't work in a less over the top thing, but I think it works perfectly here. I just think the other ones can't keep up.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves is trying to play the audience in this because he's Jonathan Harker. He's the he's the guy who comes in and he's like the rest of us. Boy, this is really fucked up, isn't it? But the problem is he just I mean, I don't know.
He's just Jonathan Harker.
He can't keep up with it.
I do real quick I did want to say My Own Private Idaho came before this, and I did see that one time in college.
I forgot. I skipped over that. Sorry.
I don't remember anything about it except that they're like street hustlers and they take like a road trip. And
I've seen My Own Private Idaho. I just skipped over it.
Okay.
But I'm like you. I haven't seen it in forever, so I don't remember anything about it. What about you, Barrett?
Yeah. River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves. I think it's River Phoenix's character that he's trying to find his mom. They're both like drug addicts, hustlers, part-time prostitutes, and they're trying to find his mom. And yeah, that's what the road trip is trying to get out of that life and everything. And I think they're offered a way out of that life to be, the sugar daddy, sugar son. I don't know what the opposite of a sugar daddy is. Is it the sugar
boy?
Sugar boy. They're offered to be sugar boys or something like that.
I imagine you don't want to Google that term.
No, I'm not gonna.
And one of them wants to do it, and the other one doesn't. But man, now this is a movie, and there's a few of these, especially early in his career, where he's fantastic. Keanu is fantastic in this. He's not asked to do much, but he's not the dim bulb Ted character. He's like an authentic character, and maybe some of that has to do with acting across from River Phoenix, a contemporary who's just naturally as gifted as anybody at that point, who's an actual friend to him too. So I don't know, but it's a great performance. It's a good movie. This is Gus Van Sant, right?
Yep.
So it's a good movie. It's not, happy-go-lucky and like, we'll lift your spirits, but it's good.
Next on the list, he plays the scheming Don John in Much Ado About Nothing. And again, there's three movies within 6 years here where it's a period piece, and he just doesn't seem right in the role. I haven't seen Much Ado About Nothing in forever, but I just remember I saw it in college again, I think. So I've seen it in theaters, and then I saw it in college because some drama teacher wanted to show it. And like, just Keanu is just always seething. He's always just, he's like, hey, Keanu, you're playing a bad guy. Okay, I'm always bad then. I'm always going to show how bad I am, and I'm going to be seething under the surface. Everything I say is going to be an asshole thing, and so like that's what it comes off as. There's no humanity underneath. There's just an evil dude trying to get And Much Ado About Nothing is one of Shakespeare's lighter plays. It's a comedy.
Yeah, so, he's trying a little too much. He's trying to undermine Count Claudio, who is, I believe, the Kenneth Branagh character. Mm-hmm. Did you guys ever do? Did your high school or college ever do Shakespeare?
I don't think there was any Shakespeare while I was at my high school.
No, we no.
I
mean, I've seen plenty of Shakespeare, but we didn't ever do it in high school or college.
We did Comedy of Errors and Twelfth Night, As You Like It. It's another comedy. Maybe it wasn't Much Ado About Nothing. And God bless her, our drama teacher was really trying to push us, was really trying to get the most out of this arcane language that's still beautiful. But it was high schoolers trying to breathe life into these words written in the 1700s, and you just couldn't make it work. You were focused on the words and the verbiage and getting it out there, and like maybe you'll emphasize one word because you underlined it in the script. That's what this Keanu Reeves performance is. He's like, and there's one scene where he's getting a massage by his man servant, by his man. And he's getting a massage, and all of a sudden he pops up from the table, and he's like, "Oh, fie thee," or whatever it is, and then he goes into his speech, and he's like, "My lord," and he's like, "Ah, fie," and it's him trying to blurt these words off that were probably given to him right before he filmed the scene, and then when he gets through the scene, he gets right back to the script.
Yeah.
It's like William Hurt's advice in broadcast news. Try and find one word or phrase to punch in each sentence.
Much Ado About Nothing is a good movie. Again, yes, it's just him. He's just kind of, it's not for him, I don't think. God bless him for trying, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, can't blame him for that. Then you said you saw Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, right?
Another Gus Van Sant.
Gus Van Sant. I never saw this.
No exception to the
I never saw this. It's got a 4.4 on the IMDb. I remember.
Well, it's not great. It's about a girl with a giant thumb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Giant thumb.
She hitchhiked. And she runs into all kinds of people. When was this? 93. This is literally right before Pulp Fiction for Uma. And it's another Uma Keanu collaboration. Lorraine Bracco, one of the other Phoenixes, Rain, is in this. Sean Young, Carol Kane, Roseanne. And it's a road trip, basically, right? And I think
Keanu likes road trips.
Yeah, I think Keanu's only in it for a brief period.
No, it's definitely he's a side character.
Oh, and Crispin Glover is back in there too.
Oh, some weird friends of the show today.
Pat Morita's in it. Well, and John Hurt. Wow, I need to watch this movie again for sure.
But yeah, I never saw it, and it's got a bad rating, and I guess if you're a Gus Van Sant completionist, that's the only reason you'd want to watch this. Little Buddha, which is Bernardo Bertolucci. I never saw that. But did you guys ever see Little Buddha?
Mm-mm. I did.
Really? Yeah.
This is all I remember from that movie is.
Yeah, sounds about right. Was there a point where Keanu was about to have sex and he needed somebody to help guide his penis in?
No, maybe. But let me tell you this. You know who's even worse in this movie and out of place than Keanu is Bridget Fonda.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love me some Bridget Fonda. I would not recommend this movie. And, Bertolucci's got some he's got a good track record, but no, this one was yeah.
I guess there wasn't such a scene because it's PG, but it's implied off screen that he needed help putting his penis in somewhere at some point.
Can you help me?
Sure.
Can you help me?
Can you help me? Help me help you. 1994. This is where I really, really got on board with Keanu Reeves. I love Speed. I love Speed.
I love heroin. I need Speed.
Movie came out in the summer. It did decently well. I think you could consider it a hit. But there were a lot of people who sort of poo-pooed this movie when it came out. Like,
oh, really?
I don't know if it's because the premise is just too hard to get on board with for some reason. The whole keep the bus above 50 and all that. But I don't know. I think once you just get beyond that, this is a great action movie. This is absolutely a classic action movie. Jan de Bont was a cinematographer on Die Hard and many other things before he directed this movie. And there's just he does it with some verve. And this is Keanu Reeves exactly like this is the perfect role for him. And there's never one time where you're sitting there going, I wouldn't want to do what this guy is asking me to do in this movie because he's completely in charge this whole time. And it's not just the bus. It starts off with that great elevator bomb thing.
Yep.
Introduces us to Dennis Hopper early on. Dennis Hopper is fantastic in this. The elevator thing's great. The bus thing is great. Of course, that's the main part of the movie. And then there's a whole subway thing at the end that I thought was really good.
You want to know what I love about this movie is Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
I fell in love with her between this and Demolition Man.
How could you not?
Oh my God, she's so fucking adorable in these two movies, and their chemistry is really good.
It is,
and like he has zero chemistry with Trinity in the Matrix movies.
Yeah, right.
Zero chemistry with Winona in the Destination Wedding movie. I'm going to give a lot of the credit to Bullock here, but you actually feel like they're kind of like having a spark.
Yeah,
and. Yeah, I love that movie. I'm still Speed 2 is still one I would redo if I had a time travel device. I would love to see Speed 2 with Keanu back in it, with the whole gang back together instead of some weirdo contract dispute Jason Patrick bullshit.
Yeah.
Let's replace a charismatic guy with a guy who has very little charisma.
Yeah. That's a movie that should never have been made. But yeah, Speed is great. It's as absurd as it is, and of course the big bus jumping across the incomplete part of the interstate is fucking absurd. But it works as a movie, right? Like
it does because everything else works. Like the whole get everybody on one side of the bus on the turn, the impossible curve makes sense, especially when they go up on the two wheels. The whole going to the airport. Now, what doesn't make sense is the fact that they're going through rush hour LA traffic up until then at 50 miles an hour or more.
That's impossible for sure. That's definitely impossible. But they also made all the bus passengers characters in this. They aren't otter. Alan Ruck is always fun, and Beth Grant, who's like in every fucking thing in the world. I hated her so much, but she does a great job in this. But because everybody, that's the part of Speed that always gets me, man. They're like, we're going to let one person off the bus. Otherwise, we're going to blow the bus. And like they let the one person, the bus driver, off because he got shot. And then like Beth Grant like gets past Keanu Reeves and is like, I'm going to jump across. And all the guys are like, come on.
Like, fuck you, man. You know the rules.
The people, yeah, exactly. The people on the other thing should be like, no, lady,
no, where you are.
Yeah. And so anyway, yeah, Speed is fucking fantastic. He's great in it. And yeah. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about BetterHelp once again.
Yeah. Listen, people, listen to me. You want this in your life. You want this in your existence. If you're having any sort of issues whatsoever with sadness, depression, anxiety, nervousness. You can call it a bunch of different things. Okay, anger, PTSD, PTSD leading to trauma, addiction. Some people call addiction like habits. If a habit has gotten out of control, you may need to talk to somebody. BetterHelp.com has a service that can counsel you on all of these issues, on getting through anger, stress, anxiety, getting along with your family, whom you may have been holed up with in a confined space for now 6 months for some of you out there, for some of us out there. If you need help with that, this is custom made for this time and place, people. You go to BetterHelp.com, you sign up, and you answer a few questions. They match you to a licensed counselor. I just had to burp, sorry. They match you to a licensed counselor. There are thousands of these people. They're trying to recruit more at this point. There are millions of people that are signing up. And they match you to a counselor. And that person gets back to you. You schedule things. The worst part, or the hardest part of the therapeutic process, I'll say from experience, is the beginning. It's the beginning. It's starting that journey. It's figuring out where to go, if they take your insurance, if you vibe with your counselor, what the treatment plan is, how to pay for it, all that stuff. It's at the beginning. BetterHelp, from my experience, makes that as easy as humanly possible from the comfort of your own home. It's fantastic.
I get asked a lot about, because I have written a few books that a few people have read. I'm by no means Stephen King or any kind of author of note, but writing a novel is not easy. Chris, you've written a couple. And a lot of people ask me, how do you even start something so big? Like, it seems so daunting. And I have compared it before in the past to fitness or weight loss. And it's similar to mental health. You have to just keep taking the next step. And it's the cumulative effect that becomes an accomplishment, not any one single act. Nobody sits down and writes a novel in one day, unless they're Stephen King. You don't go to one therapy session and come out and go, it's fixed. It's fixed. I've been to hundreds and I'm far from fixed. But I'm in much better shape and able to take care of myself mentally than I was before I ever started therapy. So as long as you understand that it's a process you have to contribute to. BetterHelp is a huge resource, especially, but even outside of a pandemic. And there's also, if you go to a special link, you can get 10% off your first month, right?
Yeah. If you go to betterhelp.com/SinCast, HELP, betterhelp.com/SinCast, 10% off your first month. I'm not kidding with you people. Listen to me. It's time to stop screwing around with your mental health. It is not the time to say, I'll deal with that later. Okay? If you've got issues, there's no reason for you to fiddle fart around and not address them. We're giving you a lifeline right here. You can try this out. If you don't like it, cancel it. I'm saying this in an ad, all right? But I bet you that this is something that will be beneficial in some way to you. It certainly has been for me. It's been for millions of people. I've never heard somebody complain about the therapeutic process if they were participating appropriately. I'll just say that. Don't screw around with your mental health. If you've got something that you need to work on, go to betterhelp.com/SinCast, 10% off your first month. Do it now. Don't delay. You've heard us talk about it. Today's the day.
1995, we have Johnny Mnemonic. Boy, is this movie a turd.
I wanted to love it.
It's from William Gibson. You'd think, with that pedigree, and he actually wrote the screenplay too. Johnny Mnemonic is in the distant future of 2021.
2021, baby.
And And Keanu Reeves plays a courier for information. He can hold up to 80 gigs.
Oh no,
80 gigs! And
my god!
If he has a modifier, he can double it to 160. Problem is, you can't go over the 160. And he goes to this one. The job he's going to, they want to put 320 gigs into his body.
That's twice as much.
Twice as much as the double he's already done. And so like the movie never explains how he's able to retain the 160 extra gigs that go beyond his 160 gig capacity. But he does, and you're told early on that's bad. That's a bad thing. If he
bad,
yeah. So he's got 24 hours to find a place to dump it off. Problem is, the information he has is so goddamn important that everybody in the world wants to kill him for the information and keep it for themselves, because it's the cure for this disease that the movie explains at the beginning with some text. And it's some nervous system thing. Joining him on this trip to wherever he needs to go to dump this information is Dina Meyer, an unsung 90s hottie who was in Starship Troopers. But she's playing a bodyguard who has this disease, this nervous system disease. And so he's got to find somebody he can trust to get the information out. It's one of those movies that feels really like the way they made it and everything feels really futuristic, and like, this is our true sci-fi thing. But then you just break it down. It's a dude who can get like 160 gigs of information in his brain.
Didn't he like carve out his childhood or something to make room for the data? He like removed a chunk of his memory, like his own memory, to make room for this.
It's possible. I don't remember, but like the thing for me was just the fact that he had only the capacity for 160.
Yep.
And I was like, where's that other 160 going? Is it
he's
going
to have like an adapter hanging out of his like back flap?
Yeah, he's got a little flash
drive up his nose.
Yeah. But it feels like, oh yeah, man, storing information on somebody's head, that's so futuristic. And then like, there's not really anything else that in that movie that's like just super, wow, that's the future, huh? Like, oh, we're gonna get to talk to each other on video screens. Amazing.
Amazing.
It's nothing like that really.
Would never happen.
Right. There's nothing really like revolutionary about it at all. It looks like a good futuristic sci-fi premise, and I'm always a sucker for that shit. Mm-hmm. But man, this movie is not good. It's not good, man. Mm-mm. I also saw A Walk in the Clouds in 1995. Any of you guys seen this?
Yep. Mm-mm. No, this is actually the trailer. When I saw the trailer, all I heard was, "Do not watch this movie, Jeremy. You will hate it."
Oh, is that you caught the subliminal messages from the marketing people?
I am a World War II agent.
Yeah, yes. The trailers were very adamant that Keanu was being very serious in this movie.
Yes,
don't you see how special she is?
Hey, this is the first. Is this the first romance that Keanu has done? Like straight up romance?
Yeah, maybe. I think so. I think that's probably right.
He tries it again with the Lake House later on.
Yeah, he does quite a few later, like Sweet November and all that. But
yeah, but this I don't think that's his wheelhouse. Street Kings.
Yeah, Street Kings for sure.
I don't think that's his wheelhouse. Like he's hunky, and he's sweet, but I don't like it. I don't like romantic Keanu.
Keanu Reeves meets a girl played by Aitana Sanchez Gijon, who I was very much crushing on back in the day when this movie came out. But she reveals to Keanu Reeves that she's pregnant and that her dad, Giancarlo Giannini, will be highly upset and disown her if he finds out that she's pregnant. So he poses as pregnant without being married. So he poses as her husband or would-be husband. I can't remember if he's pretending like they're married or not. But one thing that Jeremy might like about this is that they show the process of wine making.
Oh, interesting.
And so there's there's points where they throw a bunch of grapes in this big huge vat, and everybody goes around like crush the grapes, and everybody just dances on the grapes and smashes them and stuff. And Aitana Sanchez-Guijon does it, and it's hot. It's hot.
All right,
that's how I make my wine.
But here's a little piece of trivia.
Yeah.
A Walk in the Clouds was directed by Alfonso Arau. Arau.
Yep.
He played El Guapo in Three Amigos.
He did.
Oh, I remember. He turned into a fairly prolific director, right?
Yeah, for Water for Chocolate is his most well-known movie, I think. But yes, he played El Guapo.
It's a sweater.
We pruned the hedges.
It's not a good movie. It's not a good movie.
Does Amigos fall from the sky?
I like these. Only kill one of them.
Oh, this is fun.
The next one is Chain Reaction, a movie I have not seen since it came out. But
I was hyped because this was the directorial debut, I think, of the dude that wrote The Fugitive, right?
Oh, no. Andrew Davis, I believe, directed this, who was the director of The Fugitive.
Okay, so I knew there was a Fugitive connection, and that's why I was hyped to see it. And boy, is this the opposite
I believe
of The
this
Fugitive.
is a follow-up, though, to The Fugitive.
I think it was the next movie.
It's also a Chicago movie. There's a lot of Keanu movies that are set in Chicago.
He did Steal Big, Steal Little before this, but
okay.
So, but yeah, Chain Reaction, Morgan Freeman, Rachel Weisz, something about energy. That's all I know.
I don't know why this didn't work. It's an action movie. I guess he's playing like a nerd researcher, and I don't think that comes off.
Maybe
he's not really heroic. He's not action-y or anything like that. I guess that's why this kind of falters.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's you can blame Keanu for a movie like this, or if it's just the movie itself. I mean, you got Morgan Freeman in there too, so
it's not awful. I remember it being very hyper edited. Do you remember that, Jeremy? Like it seemed like everything was just super quick.
Everyone constantly running. There's lots of running. Everyone's running.
Yeah.
Running all the time. Like Tom Cruise should have been in this movie.
Yeah. And
I haven't seen it in 20 years.
And of course, the trailer has them like swirling around on the ice. I've mentioned this before, but Rachel Weisz is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "The best I can."
Yeah, the best I can. You just can't.
Yes. Man, back in 1994, I thought I was the only person who noticed that Khan's line was so funny. And then, I don't know, it was a decade I actually ran into somebody else in the 90s who thought that was funny. And then, decade or so later, it was like, that was a thing. Like, everybody was like, that's just code for speed, you know? That's how people get speed on the streets too. When they go to the drug dealers, they're like, "It's only cans." Hey, I know what you're looking for.
You got any cans?
The next movie in 1996, Feeling Minnesota. I did see this. Did any of you see this?
Mm-hmm. I did. I don't remember much about it.
Oh, this is Cammie Diaz, right? And isn't D'Onofrio playing his brother or something, or his friend?
Yes.
And they're both.
I think it's his brother.
They're both macking on Cameron Diaz.
The only thing I remember about this is because Cameron Diaz is supposed to marry somebody else, I think, at the beginning of the movie, and then she corners Keanu in a barn or something, and they start making out and everything, and then she gets on top of him and she goes bullseye. That's all I remember about Feeling Minnesota.
You know what?
Try that next time.
Cameron Diaz and Delroy Lindo are both in Feeling Minnesota and the next year's A Life Less Ordinary.
Yeah.
Is that the one with Ewan McGregor?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you first brought up Feeling Minnesota, I thought, oh, the Ewan McGregor one, and then I had to double check myself, and they were just back to back.
Best I can under very difficult circumstances.
Exactly, but I didn't realize Delroy Lindo was in both of those movies.
Wow, that's weird. So is Dan Aykroyd and Courtney Love are in Feeling Minnesota.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
Yeah, they got a pretty good cast for this. Stephen Bagelman, I don't know who that is.
He makes a mean bagel.
He's
the bagel man.
That's his only movie he's ever directed.
Wow.
And he got that cast.
They ran the bagel man out of L.A.
They did. What's the next one on the list that you guys see that you've watched? Devil's Advocate.
Well, I actually saw The Last Time I Committed Suicide. That's the Neil Cassidy thing. It's
okay.
I think he did this instead of doing Speed 2, which is weird. It's a very low budget look at like the beginning of the Beat generation. So this is Neil Cassidy writing a letter to Jack Kerouac, and he's writing about his girl, played by Claire Forlani, and she actually attempted suicide, came out the other side, and decided to leave him. Meanwhile, I believe he's hooking up with Betty Page, Gretchen Mol, and his buddy, who's not playing one of the famous Beat guys because this is before that, is Punisher, is Thomas Jane.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a good cast. It's a very insular story. It's not very well done, though. It feels like a Gus Van Sant movie, to be honest with you, but I don't think that's who did it.
No, it was somebody named Stephen Kay, I think. Stephen Kay did Get Carter, and he's apparently done some episodes of Friday Night Lights and Sons of Anarchy. He did Boogeyman. That's a terrible movie.
No, hold on. It's Thomas Jane that's playing Neil Cassidy, and Keanu is playing the friend. And he's not good in this. He's trying to stretch a little bit too much. He's trying to act. Don't try to act, Keanu. Try.
The Devil's Advocate came out in 1997,
and now we're going to talk 45 minutes about it.
Yeah,
He's lowering his desk so he can sit down.
Get into Devil's Advocate stance.
Haven't we already said everything there is to say?
No, there's so much more. No, there's so much more.
It really isn't.
There's so much more. There's so much subtext to this. This is one of the most perfect movies I've ever seen. I've never seen a movie so rewatchable.
No.
Look, it's the perfect mix of greatness and badness, and Pacino and Keanu trying to do that wonderfully awful Southern accent. I want to live through this entire set. I want to live through the production of The Devil's Advocate and do it on a time loop, like Groundhog Day. I want to experience it. I want to see what Keanu said to Pacino when the camera stopped during that monologue. Did he walk away from him, or did he go up to him and be like, "Whoa,
yeah,
how did you do that?" How long was Connie Nielsen naked in the corner, like ready to come out and do her Jesus pose? When how did she keep a straight face when Pacino patted her belly and he was like, "She's ovulating"?
The movie embraces the badness unlike any other movie before it. I think it still somehow manages to make it seem like it's on a top shelf, even though it's not. It's definitely bottom shelf, but it's got the appearance of a top shelf movie. It's insanely watchable all the way through. And yeah, Keanu Reeves this is a perfect role for him, right? Like, this is just because everything is so insane, and he is actually in this case matching the insanity with that Southern accent and everything. I'll lose, I win. That's what I do. Al Pacino is, of course, hamming it up. He's got a Sin of a Woman Oscar now. That's all he's going to do from now on in his life is he's going to yell, Kevin.
Oh, he does, but no. He saves the yelling up until that last bit. He's channeling his rage into that last monologue. Like even when he gets threatened by the dude on the subway, where he's staring at this dude. He's doing the subway thing. This is a great scene. I want to deconstruct this scene. So he's on the subway. They're both holding on to the poles. They're not sitting down. And he's talking to him, and he's like, he's talking about Craig T. Nelson. And he's like, he's got a lot of fingers and a lot of pies. And he's looking straight at this dude, and the dude pulls out a knife. And what the funny thing is that Keanu doesn't run away. He's like, oh shit, John. And like, he just ducks his head, but still holds on to the pole. He doesn't move at all. And then Pacino goes on to tell him in Spanish that his girlfriend is being fucked in the ass by his friend on his new bedspread. Swear to God. No, this is real. This actually happened in the movie. Gets fucked in the ass on his new bedspread, and she's going to enjoy it. And this somehow convinces dude with the knife to say, like, you know what? I can turn around and probably catch him in the act right now. He's like, use that knife on somebody who deserves it. And I don't know if it's going into his wife or his buddy or both. Maybe so. But like, that works. And he just walks off. And as soon as he walks off, Pacino looks at Kevin. He's like, accelerating.
Jesus.
He has on his new bedspread. And he's smiling when he's saying this. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's so
good. Obviously, Barrett and I love Devil's Advocate, and Jeremy's wrong. And
but you've only seen it like a couple of times, right?
Yeah, I've seen it like twice. I get what you guys are saying. It's when you start talking about the perfect mix of bad and good, I'm all there. But earlier, when you first started, you called it a perfect movie, and I can't not object to that. Careful.
A perfect movie can be a mix of good and bad, for sure. For sure. Well,
I don't think so.
I can think of only one example, and it's this movie.
So then it's the exception that proves the rule.
It really does. I mean, I can't think of any movie that like I've found so ludicrous, but enjoyed so much.
Have you seen Lockout?
You know what? Lockout was on the list to maybe watch for family movie night the other night.
Oh, Jesus, I would not show that to your kid.
I don't even know what that is.
It's the space prison movie.
It's that Guy Pearce space prison and a hot girl from Lost.
There's plenty of those. Evangeline Lilly?
Grace?
Emily DeRaven? Oh, Maggie Grace?
Maggie Grace. This is the one that got sued for ripping off John Carpenter's New York Escape from New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, I'm sorry, I have to ask this because otherwise it would never come up in conversation. What happened to Emily DeRaven?
She was in another movie that my wife saw, and that was it. Then she rents mopeds in Greece. That's the end of the Bourne Identity. She rents mopeds in Greece. I don't know what happened to her.
Oh my God. Well, she was looking it up there for a little while.
Let's take a look at her filmography real quick. 26 projects.
And she's gorgeous.
Yeah, she is. Nothing like huge since Lost. She's in Once Upon a Time, if you watch that.
The show?
Yeah, the show.
I wonder if that's still going. Is that still going?
It says that
God, I hope not.
It ended in 2018. It went from 2012 to 2018. She is credited on 117 episodes, but who knows how many she actually was on. But that was her last big thing.
Okay. Well,
all right.
God bless her.
I think we're going to do 2 parts on Keanu Reeves. We're going to end this with The Matrix, I think. I think that's probably the way to go here because we want to get to some recommends and stuff like that. So
Sure.
right after he does Devil's Advocate, he parlayed all of that success into the Matrix. He has the Devil's Advocate to thank for the Matrix.
It's funny if you look at it, because last time I committed suicide and Devil's Advocate were both released in 97, and on IMDb it skips 98 to go to the Matrix, and it's tempting to think, well, he took a year off, but I'm pretty sure the Matrix probably took a year or more to film.
Yeah,
sure.
Given the complexity of that, so I don't think he took any time off at all. This is by far my favorite Keanu movie because it is my favorite movie of all time. And I do think it's awesome that it's sandwiched between the Devil's Advocate and the Replacements.
I can't wait to talk about Replacements too.
But no, I mean, this is 99. This is the trailer made me laugh. I thought it was dumb. People running on the walls because I did not realize there was an explanation for all that. I thought it was like some kind of, you know what I thought it was when I saw the trailer? Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, like that kind of like pseudo superhero bullshit. In terms of like, oh, he's been injected with a serum and he can run on ceilings now or what have you. But then once the Matrix lays out its exquisite hook, then all the action from the trailer that you see afterwards makes perfect sense and is now thrilling instead of silly. And like Barrett and Devil's Advocate, I could talk for hours about this movie, but unlike Devil's Advocate, this movie is actually awesome all the way through, not because it's bad and good. The only bad thing in this movie, the only bad thing in this movie is that line reading that Switch gives right before she dies when she says, "Not like this," and falls over. That's the only bad thing in the whole movie.
I haven't even recognized that as a bad line reading. Is that a thing that people bring up about this movie?
No, I've never heard anyone say it but me, but it always makes me cringe, and it may not be a line reading thing. It may have been an intentional direction, but
yeah. But the same thing for me when I saw the trailers, even though I thought a lot of the things that were in the trailer were awesome. The thing that I was a little worried about, and I had been in movie theaters long enough at this point to realize release dates mattered a lot. And this was late March, early April when The Matrix was coming out. Typically, around that time, not a great release date for any movie coming out. Because it always meant not good enough for the summer, and it was trying to get a head start on anything that was coming out in May, and we're coming out with this in April, and maybe this will have a shot of getting an audience and everything. And little did they know what they had here. Now, they were avoiding May also because The Phantom Menace was coming out that year. Everybody was avoiding like May. I think there may have been one movie that came out in the first week, and then Phantom Menace came out Memorial Day. Is that how that worked?
The 19th, yeah.
I think it was. I think that's how that worked. Was maybe you had one movie, and then there was like a gap there where nothing came out because nothing wanted to compete with the Phantom Menace, and so yeah, that was part of it. But I just remember the release date, and I was like, oh, late March, early April. I don't know if this has much of a chance. Of course, and then I think that and like that week just before the end of March, that's become a great release date for a lot of movies. You see a lot of like Hunger Games and stuff like that come out during that time. But this was the week after that, I believe, is when The Matrix came out.
Also had the power of that, even though the trailer was laughable, it did have that Super Bowl trailer that showed the bullet time for the first time. Mm-hmm. It was a wow moment. And then there was the whoa and all that stuff. And yes, it was derided, but that bullet time thing looked like it kicked ass. And it did.
It did indeed come out March 31st. So that was not a good like release date for a movie like that. And it broke all expectations because, people watched it and said, hey, this is pretty badass. And it lasted like the thing about The Matrix is that it lasted well into the summer. It was in its seventh week by the time Phantom Menace came out. And I'm pretty sure it was still doing pretty kick-ass business.
Was it still in the theater when Phantom Menace came out?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Oh, wow. But because I started at Hollywood 27 at that point, and I was usher manager and all that shit during that time. And I remember going in to clean the Matrix a lot of times, and like, you know, hearing that and I even then I was like, God damn, this movie's still playing. I forgot that this, like, how long this movie had been playing at the time when I was like, Jesus, this is like a phenomenon here. I want to look at the box office mojo here and see what the week by week was on this, because let's see, opening weekend was 27 million. Of course, that's back in 1999, where that's amazing. So yeah, it shows April 2nd through the 4th, 27 million, and it had made 10 million March 31st to April 2nd. So it was a Wednesday that I think this opened. The Easter weekend, for the whole Easter weekend, it made 31 million. Following week made 22. And by the time it got to where Star Wars was coming out, it was making 2.8. But by that point, it had made 149 million domestically.
That ain't bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. And you're talking about 1999, where, you know, even something like Titanic opened at 20 something million. So it's, you know, that's actually really good, and to keep on making 2.8, and it actually increased its business at one point. Memorial Day weekend, that's why. You know, to keep doing that over and over in its 8th and 9th weekend, pretty amazing. But yeah, Matrix is pretty badass. I still haven't gotten on Jeremy's Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions are better than you think train yet. But maybe
we can discuss that next time.
Yep, next time. So that's part 1 of Keanu Reeves. We'll get to part 2 of it on the next episode. You want to get to some recommends and warrants?
Totes amazeballs.
There, great.
It won the Academy Award.
Oh, for what?
For best movie ever made.
Sure. Hey, can I go first?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I got a warn.
Ooh.
I got a big warn. I got a medium warn. Okay. So I forced myself to watch Last Christmas. This is the Emilia Clarke, Henry Golding movie that Jeremy called Khaleesi Dassisi. I saw in that trailer a little bit more than what you guys did. I actually saw like a little bit more nuance. It's Paul Feig, who I dig, except for Ghostbusters. And I'm like, man, maybe there's something more here than just a traditional rom-com. I was right. Okay? The problem is there's a lot more. There's too much more in this movie than should be in this movie. I'll give you a summary of it. So the movie is about health crises. It's about homelessness. It's about the holiday spirit. It's about lesbians. It's about family. It's about immigration and bigotry. It's about alcoholism. And then there's George Michael. That's the
George
movie.
Michael.
That's the movie. It's got all that in there. It's got all that in there. And it's too much. If he just pared it down a little bit and had, and then there's a twist. I want to spoil the fuck out of this movie, but I'm not going to because it's a little bit, it's really, literally the only interesting thing about this movie is a little bit of a twist. But it's too much. I just want a little bit of this, a little slice. There's literally like 2 scenes in which there's rampant xenophobia because Emma Thompson, who plays Emilia Clarke's mom, is from Croatia. They're all from Croatia, the whole family, and they're persecuted. The UK folks want them out of their country, but there's only 2 scenes of it. And like I realize there's little hints and reminders and microaggressions and stuff like that. I'm not belittling that, but it's just thrown in as just kind of like an extra dash of pepper or cayenne or whatever to this soup that has too many ingredients. And all you want to see is Emilia Clarke, who is absolutely adorable in this movie, just be her mess of a self, and Henry Golding be his knight, chivalrous knight of himself, and a few other characters. It's just too much. It's too overstuffed. This is a movie that I should like, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in case anybody out there was seeing what I was saying like maybe there's some hope in this, because Emilia Clarke, by the way, Emilia Clarke's eyebrows are like their own acting thing. They're long.
Yeah, that was
they're
meme for a while. I think that she'd had like the ability to do some fucking weird shit with her eyebrows.
She's cartoonish, and I don't mean this in a bad way. She's literally, she'll take him up in it's almost like Jack Black, where like she'll take him up into a weird shape. She'll do like this wave thing, and it's good for whatever she needs. And boy, she fucks in this movie. She fucks everybody in this movie.
Nice.
Yeah, no, she fucks. She fucks, and she wants to fuck more, but she can't. And there's a reason that she can't.
Because Santa doesn't fuck.
Well, Santa is actually played by Michelle Yeoh. Literally the owner of her little Christmas shoppy that she works in as an elf is named Santa, and that's Michelle Yeoh, and she falls in love with some other dude.
Is it the real Santa?
No,
that's all I'm talking about. Santa, the real Santa doesn't fuck.
Oh, well, yeah. The Santa in this movie fucks. Yeah. Yeah, she does.
Now you're making me want to watch it.
Reminds me, yeah, me too. For some reason, all of this talk of fucking reminds me of there's that throwaway line in Entourage where like Turtle is like sitting there going, like, do you think people were having sex like we are right now back in the early days? And he's like, and Kevin Dillon is like, he's like, of course they had sex back then, Turtle, or else we wouldn't be here.
No, there's a lot of fucking. She's a hot mess. She's homeless. She's a drunk, and she's fucking. And yeah, but her mom still loves her. By the way, she's got a great voice. And the fact that they had George Michael music peppered through this is like just the most mundane, silly thing ever. I want you guys to watch this to see what I'm talking about, because it's just so much. It's so much. Anyway, yeah. So that's a warn.
All right. I'm going to recommend a movie that I saw back in 2006, and I didn't remember much about it. And since I've grown to appreciate Darren Aronofsky a little bit more over the years, even though I really liked Pi and Requiem for a Dream, but this one movie, The Fountain. I watched this, and I don't remember if I saw it in theaters. I was in New York at the time when this movie came out, and I don't even remember my experience. Like, I don't remember if I watched it at my theater. I don't think my theater got it. So I would have had to have gone out to watch this somewhere, and I don't remember my experience at all. All I remember is that I was like, this is just not for me. I just can't deal with this. But now
I can't deal with this right now.
No, I just couldn't. But now having a chance to revisit it, popped it in the other day, and I ended up really liking it. I think there are some things that he does that are that can be just a little bit too much, like too arty at times, too symbolic and whatever, allegorical and whatever. But I really did dig it this time, and it's short too. It's like an hour and a half. Hugh Jackman Hugh Jackman had quite the year in 2006. This and The Prestige. He was also in X-Men: The Last Stand. What else? Well, he was in some other movie in 2006 as well. But he's good at playing these obsessed guys. In 2006, he's obsessed with trying to find this cure for cancer, and Rachel Weisz is his wife, who's dying from it and everything, and they're in some sort of experimental lab where they're doing these experiments on monkeys and everything, and he really wants to find this cure before she dies, and he's obsessed with it. And the one monkey that they're experimenting on, he tries to find some like thing that they cut out of a tree and did experiments with way back in the day, and it's against protocol because it's not approved or anything to do that. And he uses it on this monkey, and the monkey is showing all this great like cognitive improvement, but the cancer's not going away. And so he gets obsessed with like, he's like, we can't use this, but the discovery of that alone is amazing. And all of the scientists that are with him are like, you've got to do that. You got to like keep looking at this drug right here because it's making people like lose years off of their life. But he's like, no, we need to find this cure for cancer. But in the middle of all of this, Rachel Weisz is writing a story, and the movie sort of cuts back and forth between him as this researcher and him as this like conquistador. Yeah. And it's the whole thing is an allegory for what's going on in the thing. He's trying to save Rachel Weisz, who plays a queen in that story. He's going to the ends of the earth to do it. And so these people have found where the tree of life is, and they want to find the tree of life, and they have to conquer, the people who are guarding it, and everything. So like the movie goes back and forth between these two stories, and it's easy at first to just be like, what the fuck is this? Because you're like, is Hugh Jackman like, is he like living and is he like Dr. Manhattan where he's like, he lives in all these different
that's exactly my thought when I saw this movie.
And it's not that at all. It's whenever it shows him in the conquistador stuff, it's him reading that story, and she tells him, I want you to finish this story. And he's like, you're going to be able to finish it because I'm going to get this drug. It's going to help you out. But he keeps on, the movie is really, the movie like really, covers like what it is. Like when someone is dying, try to spend as much time with that person as you can. Don't get sidetracked. Yes, finding a cure would be great, but try to live with that person and try to, because there's a point right at the beginning where Rachel Weisz is like, come walk with me. It's the first snow of the year. And he's like, I gotta go work. I gotta go do this. And he ends up missing a lot of things because he's trying to find this cure. Movie was way better than I remember it when I first watched it, when I thought it was just kind of, I must have watched it under just extreme exhaustion. And I could have just not been ready for something like this at the time. So
I guess
highly recommend it. Isn't
there a third vignette, or am I dreaming that? Is there a third?
Yeah, I think it's still part of the story that he's reading/finishing. Yes, there is. He's sitting in front of the tree of life, and his hair's all cut off. And he's like, I am, it's not too long before I join you and everything. I was talking about this movie with some other people, and one guy had looked up some stuff about it. And he believes that Hugh Jackman himself is on his deathbed in this movie. And Rachel Weisz has died already. And that he is thinking back on his life and here's what he should have done as he's about to join her in the afterlife. Movie is really, really good. Like I said, it took me, like when I first watched it, I was like, nah, I don't like this. And then I didn't give it another chance for a really long time. I looked it up on the IMDb and it was like 7 point something. And I was like, maybe this movie's better than I'm gave it credit for. And it is.
Yeah, I didn't get it the first time. Jeremy, did you see this?
I've never seen it.
I only saw it the once too, and I think it was late at night. But I just didn't get that.
I didn't either. Especially you watch the trailer. The trailer is awesome, by the way. You watch the trailer and then you go watch the movie, and the way it's presented, it makes it seem like Hugh Jackman is this person in the past, and he's lived this long. And it gets to the modern day, and she is still alive, but now it's just that book she was writing.
See. Well, now with that context, I'd love to rewatch this because I'd love any Aronofsky, and I remember it being well done, but I didn't get it because I'm done.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to recommend a movie that's from 2006 that I had never seen.
Also from 2006.
Yeah.
What?
Also from 2006, because mine was from 2006.
I'm just copying you, basically.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Here's a movie that I saw because I woke up one morning, came down, turned on my computer, turned on my office TV, and started flipping the movie channels, and the only one I had never seen before was Aquila and the Bee.
Oh, yeah. Young Keke Palmer.
This movie is not about bees. Yes, young Keke Palmer. I finished this movie thinking, that girl's adorable. I wonder if she's still acting. And the first thing I see when I Google is she's in Hustlers. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. That's a juxtaposition I didn't need. This is about an 11-year-old girl. I think she's 11. In L.A., with single mother, Angela Bassett, who's outstanding. And she shows some natural talent at spelling at school. And the principal, I think it's the principal, it might as well be the principal, is played by Curtis Armstrong, who is Booger from Revenge of the Nerds, who has had a much longer career than you realize. He acts all the time. And he's great in this. But he hooks her up with Lawrence Fishburne, who went to the Nationals as a speller when he was 13 and got knocked out in like the 7th round or whatever.
This is the classic Fishburne role, by the way.
It really is.
Searching for Bobby Fischer and really The Matrix. Yes. I mean, it's a classic Fishburne.
I got vibes of Karate Kid and Dead Poet Society in this because a lot of the story is that she wants to do this spelling thing, but her mother doesn't care about it and doesn't want her to do it because to do the spelling thing, she's got to take a bus across town by herself. And so basically, she lies to Angela Bassett and tells her she's not pursuing spelling anymore. Fishburne is a crusty old codger who won't let her speak any words that aren't in the dictionary or use any hood lingo, and has demanding expectations of her and sends her away. But she goes back another time humbly and says, I want to learn. I need to learn, yada, yada, yada. I thought this movie would just be a charming, good time. And maybe it is. I loved it. My wife came to check on me and said, usually you come out and visit me. Like, you've been in here for an hour. I'm like, I'm really wrapped up in this freaking spelling bee movie. She has a friend that's a good speller and it goes with her to regionals and then nationals. And she's got a rival whose dad is an asshole. And in hindsight, it is very paint by numbers kind of storytelling, but it really moved me. And I think it might just be the performances and the authenticity, like the real fucking Scripps Howard spelling bee MC is in this movie playing the spelling bee MC.
That dude's no joke, man. I used to watch that spelling bee every year, and that guy has his shit together.
And her mnemonic device is keeping time. If she's got a rhythm she can hear or feel, she can spell better. So when she's practicing, she jumps rope. And there's a moment on stage where she loses her place on a word, closes her eyes, and starts pantomiming jumping rope to spell the rest of the word. And it cuts to Fishburne in the audience grinning. I'm getting chills talking about it right now. And it may have just been the right day and the right time. And I was just open to it. But I really, really liked it. It's an 85 on Rotten Tomatoes, so I'm not crazy. And I had just never seen it. It came and went, and I never got around to it. And if you're the same, I would recommend you check it out.
I remember watching this, and I liked it. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, these spelling bee movies in general seem to be pretty good. Like, was it Bad Words, the Jason Bateman one? That I really like that. And then there was there another one? It seems like these are pretty good in general.
I'll tell you what's good, man, is the actual, when they started airing that shit on ESPN, I think it was ESPN2 at the time, back in, you said 2006. It was probably a few years before that, like 03 or something like that, right around when poker was getting kind of popular too. And so they started doing this every year. And my wife and I would like pop popcorn and like, really get into it, because these kids, that's talk about a high pressure situation. It's just like LeBron shooting free throws at the end of a fucking game. You know what I mean?
And these are kids, man.
They're unflappable
8-year-olds.
too. Yeah.
Well, and just the drama of them misspelling the word and that simple ding that they give whenever they're wrong. It's amazing how dramatic that simple little tone is whenever they mess it up. But
because the guy that you were talking about, the MC, has to know all these words backwards and forwards, pronunciations perfected, the exact use of a sentence. Like, this guy is like Alex Trebek. Like, Alex Trebek knows how to pronounce everything, like even if it's in some weird German, or like, some sort of different language.
They
this
know.
Guy's
they
like
know,
this.
Barrett.
Yeah, the Germans know they're weird.
Yeah,
it's like the classical radio DJs are like this. They'll pronounce these fantastical names with aplomb, and I love it.
There's a great scene in the basically local spelling bee that she's in, and Angela Bassett, who at this point is not on board with spelling, finds out about it and storms into the fucking auditorium and creates this commotion in the back. And then the principal comes up and says, "We need speller 77. Her mom needs to talk to her. It's an emergency." And so she gets pulled out there to talk to her mom. And the next speller, because she's after her friend, and her friend is next. So he gets up and he stalls for like 10 minutes, knowing she's probably going to get permission to come back in and spell. And so he's like, "Can I have the language of origin?" And it's the woman from Field of Dreams who wants to ban the book at the PTA. And she goes, "You already asked for that." And then it cuts back to Aquila talking with her mom and Lawrence Fishburne. And it cuts back to the kid, and he's like, "Could you use it in a song?" And she goes, "What?" And then when Aquila walks in, the kid goes, "Oh, never mind. Da, 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 da," boom, and spells the word perfectly and goes and sits down. It's really, really
Can you use it in a song?
That woman in Field of Dreams is the girl in Sneakers, who's like, I leave message here on service. Yeah. You did not call.
You do not call.
Because of I think she's a favorite of Phil Alden Robinson.
That has to be it. Mm-hmm. But she wants to ban that book. Do you know why? Because he masturbates.
He masturbates.
What is it, Catcher in the Rye?
No, it's Fate Catcher in the Rye. It's James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones is playing a Salinger-like writer.
Yeah.
Actually, is he? I'm trying to think if he might. Well, yeah, I think it's a Salinger-like writer. That's going to do it for this week. Keep going to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins on Facebook. We also are on Cinemasins Twitter, Music Video Sins Twitter. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Discord. And if you want to get on Discord, go to our Reddit page, find our link on the right side, go there, or you can private message me on Facebook, and I will give you a link there. But that's going to do it for this week. It's Chris Atkinson, Jeremy Scott, and Barrett Scherer. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
I had to not look at you while I did that.
Well, we're not trying to
fucking ass off when you got in the middle of all that.
I was watching one of these trailers. What was it? It was, I think, Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, something like that. Mm-hmm. Where like it was one of those older, maybe it was River's Edge, actually. No, it wasn't River's Edge. Where there's an announcer, where there's a movie trailer guy, and he's like, Uma Thurman, Keanu Reeves.
They're going to make a series at NBC out of this Joe Exotic guy from the documentary.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I couldn't get it up to watch it. I think I watched the first episode.
I watched the whole thing.
Is it good? Is it worth it?
I was talking about this last night with this person who was like, you have to watch it. But I was like, the only reason why this became a phenomenon was because of COVID and everybody having to stay inside because it was the first thing that became a thing during COVID.
Yeah.
And maybe it would have become a thing even without COVID, but it seems like it accelerated it because everybody was watching this thing. And I watched it. I mean, it's one of those train wreck type of things where like everything that is possibly insane about a person just keeps coming up with this guy. Just the fact that he owns a place where there's all these big cats that he, invites people in to pet and whatever he does. And then it's like all of a sudden all sorts of other weird stuff starts coming up, like him running for, I think he ran as a Republican for, I don't know, some sort of either state Senate or whatever. But he's gay. So there was a lot of like, he had a lot of like different, things from the Republican. Maybe he ran as a Democrat. I'm not sure. That's the thing. He could have ran as either, but he was a big gun guy too. So,
hey, I saw Palm Springs.
I heard.
Mm-hmm.
I've never wanted to be on a mini pod retroactively more. It's so fucking good. I couldn't stop thinking about that movie after I watched it. It's one of those movies. You said that you were doing this on Sorry to Bother You, Chris. I have never, to my knowledge, started a movie right after it ended to watch it again. I know you did that in the context of a poker thing.
Yeah.
But I wanted to start this back over and watch everything again, given the knowledge that I knew. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I can't wait to watch it again. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's open up our legs and receive both money and other items.
Yeah.
Into
other things you put in your legs.
By the way, I never understood this. First of all, this is maybe my favorite episode of Watchmen. So, did you see the marathon was on this weekend?
Of course, I watched the whole
HBO.
thing. I mean,
you watched it again for 4. Yeah, well, I narrowly avoided because I had to write this and narrate this MVS script. So I only watched the one episode and somehow got myself away. It was the third episode where Jean Smart shows up and does her whole like I'm the investigator thing, the funeral and all that stuff. And she's got that Dr. Manhattan dildo.
She does.
Yep.
That's giant and like glows her face up and all that stuff. But I don't know. I guess it's just there to intimate that obviously she was hooked up with Manhattan before, but she doesn't use it. She goes over to Petey's place.
How do you know that she doesn't use it?
Well, I got the impression she
closes it before she goes over.
Was considering it.
She fucks the guy, sure, but she's using it in general, right?
Yeah, I think she's using it in general because she was about to hammer that thing home like right before the senator came over.
Right.
Well, one thing
she went right for it. She fed the owl. She went right for it. It was
one thing that stuck out most to me this watching was how good Regina King is at F-bomb line readings. Because when she sees long, tall, shiny guy and she's running, first she sees him and he turns and runs and she's like, the fuck? Yeah. And then she does this whole chase and he slides into the drain and she's like, the fuck? And then like in the next to last episode when her husband is doing stuff 3 different times, she's like, he does a thing and she goes, motherfucker. And like 3 different line readings that are all perfect. God. That show is like fine wine for me.
But, yeah, no kidding, man. God damn, that show's awesome. And that joke is so amazing.
You'd like the joke about the brick in the air?
That is such classic fucking writing. I can't get over the delivery, the conception, the execution, and how it fits into the narrative overall. You know what I mean?
I do think
like, it's just gorgeous.
She's outstanding in that scene. But again, what stood out to me, I mentioned this before, so I'm a broken record, is the writing of that penultimate episode where Dr. Manhattan is talking to his future wife, but also, talking to his future wife and talking to his past wife and talking to, and the writing on that show, especially when you get to that scene by the pool, when he reminds her, I experience everything at the same time. And she's like, you're talking to my grandfather right now? And he's like, yeah. And then they start communicating over time through Dr. Manhattan's perception of time. Fucking, I will never write anything that good. It's so, I would never even dream that up. Awesome. I love it.
Well, it's almost like her, right? Where she's having 6,000 conversations at the same time, but I'm attending to you right now.
Oh, yeah. It's very similar vibes in that regard, and I'm sure that's part of what their relationship struggles were about in that time period before he had. Well, I guess it was only 6 months, but
it clearly pissed Gene Smart off because he's like, well, in Watchmen the movie, is it Malin Ackerman that plays her character, Silk Spectre 2?
He plays the daughter of. What's her name? God, why?
Carla Gugino.
Carla Gugino. Carla Gugino plays
Gene Smart's character.
Carla Gugino is the Gene Smart.
Okay. Yeah, and she was... No. Carla Gugino was the first Silk Spectre, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was married to a comedian. Gene Smart is the offspring.
Not married to comedian, no. Comedian raped her.
Right. Gene Smart's character is the daughter. She's Silk Spectre too.
That's not what I got.
Yeah, because I was just watching that scene where she got Petey to explain to Regina King that she is the daughter of Silk Spectre. She's Silk Spectre 2, which means I guess she would be Malin Ackerman's character.
Well, if that's what was said, then she is the Malin Ackerman then, because I don't remember that though.
And then Malin Ackerman dated Dr. Manhattan. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so Gene Smart dated it's so weird. Gene Smart was the same character that previously dated Dr. Manhattan. But
Gene Smart's age made me think she was the first one.
Well, yeah, because this is all those years later after.
Is it that far in the future?
It's supposed to be like
present day.
Yeah, 2019 with some.
But it looks like Gene Smart's character's name is Lori, last name Blake. Malin Ackerman's character's name in the movie is Lori, last name Jupiter. So she probably changed her name. It looks like she is the Malin Ackerman character. I actually thought, like Chris did, that it was Carla Gugino's character. Yeah. Because in the movie, I only remember Malin Ackerman hallelujahing Patrick Wilson in the spaceship.
I do.
That's after she broke up with Manhattan because he was so distant.
Okay, all right. Well, I have not admittedly watched that movie a lot.
Manhattan clearly didn't care one way or the other.
Right, he's lost his humanity, basically.
Yeah, he's in there sexing her, but he's also like doing all of his science and shit.
I do remember that.
Yeah. Okay. And she's like, you're not even focusing on this. It's like, I'm totally focusing on that, but I'm also focusing on this.
Hallelujah. Hey, was it Hallelujah that's in the Justice League trailer, the Snyder Cut trailer?
Yeah, did you not watch that trailer?
I watched
Not that you should.
I watched it. It like my penis retracted into my body.
It's the same Hallelujah from Watchmen. It's just like
it's the Leonard Cohen
obsessed with this song.
Yeah.
But actually it made me giggle hearing that song, and it just made any chance of me taking that trailer seriously go right out the window. You want to talk about that Batman trailer though? Anybody have any interest in talking about that Batman?
I got to tell you, it's grown on me. It's really grown on me. I really hate that use of something in the way, but it's grown on me.
Oh, is that a cover you've heard before, or you just don't like the use of that song?
It's not a cover. It's just they stretch it out and they make it weird.
They just slowed it down?
No, they didn't slow it down until the...
it's the actual Nirvana song for a while, and then they slow it down.
All right. Well, anyway, when he punches that dude 52 times in the face without the camera cutting, I felt like, this is what we're going to get, man. We're going to get more of this. We're going to get more of this. Like, Nolan, God love him, is not a fight scene director first. But this is the guy that made the last two Planet of the Apes movies. This is the guy that made that 360 tank shot from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And he's making a fucking Batman movie, man. You want to talk about your dick shriveling in on the Justice League. I did the opposite on this one.
Yeah.
It's broing.
Shriveled outwards.
And listen, James Gunn's Suicide Squad trailer. Did you guys see that?
Nuh-uh.
Did you see a trailer or a behind the
scenes?
It's a
2.5 minute behind the scenes with lots of footage. Looks outstanding.
Everybody's like, you've never seen a superhero movie like this. There's only one guy who can suck his own dick, and it's James Gunn. And James Gunn's like, yeah, I'm bringing the pain. And there's shit. And it's a war movie. And everybody's amazing.
Someone's got baggage. This sounds like me talking about Ed Norton and Brooklyn.
They're just slobbing each other's knob. They're like just jamming thumbs up their assholes and stuff.
Everybody who's ever been interviewed on the set of a movie has said, this has been the best experience of my life.
Yes.
So it's just hyperbole. I'm talking about the footage I saw. It looked really freaking fun, man.
Yeah. I'm just sick of all the...
Yeah, Barrett. He's talking about the footage. He's not talking about the dick sucking.
There's like 20 seconds of footage. That's hyperbole. But there's very little footage, and there's a lot of like sperming all over the camera about how this has never been seen before.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that.
No, he literally said you've never seen a superhero movie like this.
Well, that's not what you just said.
What, sperming?
No. Maybe we haven't ever seen a superhero movie like this.
What, somebody's going to have a golden cloaca?
From what I have read, it is very much a 70s war movie that happens to include these wacky, wild villain characters in a Dirty Dozen-esque kind of mission. I have never seen a superhero movie quite like that.
Isn't Suicide Squad like that, except for not in the 70s?
Hell no.
This is not a 70s war movie. The other thing he said was, this is by far the biggest movie I've ever worked on. And I think that can just be a statement of fact in terms of scope or budget. Not necessarily dick sucking.
Barrett, I agree with you that I am not excited about a Suicide Squad movie, but I will watch this due to different people being involved and making it possibly more fun and everything. And I'm sure the footage looks way different from what that first movie does.
Okay, how about the Wonder Woman trailer? Did anybody see that?
No.
I don't need any more Wonder Woman trailer.
Oh, all right.
Is it good?
Looked pretty good to me. I mean, she does lasso lightning and ride it like Tarzan on vines, which I found to be
She's
a little
riding
silly.
the lightning like Metallica.
I mean, I didn't know that was possible. I feel like she might get electrocuted that way, but she didn't. And I will say that, like, the villain is named Cheetah, and it's SNL girl we love, Jilly.
Kristen Wiig?
Kristen Wiig.
Oh, she's the villain? I remember her being in that first.
And in the end, she looks like a cheetah, and it's kind of like Taylor Swift and Cats.
And you're saying this is a good thing?
All right.
No, I'll watch Wonder Woman, and I'm excited for Batman.
All right.
I'm kind of excited for Wonder Woman because Patty Jenkins is doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have an idea of how they bring Chris Pine back.
Well, the trailer will straight up tell you. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it Pedro Pascal? Like his doohickey?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, not the way that sounds, but basically there is an item in this movie that can grant you whatever you wish for.
Yeah.
It's called the doohickey.
It's called
Mother Box doohickey.
Pedro's Pepe.
Yeah, Pedro's Pepe. That's
she
right.
touched my Pepe, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of Vince Lombardi quotes that better help.
Right? Like go out there and win one for the Gipper.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
What's funny, I caught a little bit of Semi-Pro the other day, the Will Ferrell thing, where he brings in Woody Allen's character, Woody Harrelson's character, and he's like, what's our motto? He's talking to Andre 3000 or whatever. He's like, what's our motto? And he's like, ELE. And he's like, yeah, everybody love everybody. he points to the sign. The sign that says "Everybody love him." It's on the sign. The sign before the game.
There's this song they used to play for altar calls at church youth group and camps to make you feel like real urgency. And the song was called "Tomorrow," and it's basically this girl singing "Tomorrow, I'll give my life tomorrow." Dicer's probably going to know this song immediately. And forget about today. And it's basically, I'll just do it tomorrow. And I'm pretty sure it's implied that she like dies or something.
Sure she does.
And it becomes this like, you better do this today. And I just remember all the teens go, I gotta go pray. I don't want to wait till tomorrow.
What is an altar call? Is that where you come up and you do the Jesus thing?
Yes. An altar call is where the minister opens up, at least in some Protestant religions. Yes. The altar in Protestant religions is not quite the same use as the Catholic altar, I don't think. But in my upbringing, it was a place for special prayer needs where other people could come up and pray with you, but usually the minister would come down and pray with you. And when you had revivals with, evangelists in preaching, or if we had summer camp for teens, you want to win as many souls as possible. So every service ends with some sort of call to accept Jesus into your life. Come on down and we'll pray with you and you can get saved.
Just like
sometimes they use guilt-tripping songs to help you do this.
Like Paul Dano and Daniel Plainview, right?
Man, one of the most effective sermons I ever saw, not to derail us immediately again, was this evangelist, Dave Ramsey, not the guy who's on the radio. And this fellow has passed away. But he had been a missionary to Romania and used to show the Jesus film over there. He came and spoke, powerful speaker, but he told this story about a man who came upon a bridge that had broken, but it was really snowy or foggy, and so people couldn't see, and there was all this traffic coming, and he knew it was hopeless, but he still got out and walked up and down the street waving this towel, trying to warn people, the bridge is out. At the end of the sermon, this dude is walking up and down the aisles screaming, the bridge is out, the bridge is out, to get you to commit. And it was effective, man. Let me tell you, I am not trying to disparage. That was one of the best sermons I ever saw in my life.
He won a lot of souls that day.
He did indeed.
All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins. God damn it.
The throat monster got you. It's like the turf monster for your mouth penis.
I hope that stays in. That should just be the cold open right there. God damn it.
I knew halfway through it I was not going to get all the way through this whole thing.